off very nicely. First of all, FIA accreditation, how good is that? And we have a brilliant opening round in Vallelunga. No disappointing from this championship. Norby, behind you, kicked off the season very nicely, reigning champion and gained an awful lot of points at Vallelunga. So Hyundai are the ones to beat. We've travelled north from Vallelunga up to Circuit Moulay El Hassan, Marrakech, Morocco, where we have all different kinds of challenges ahead. It's a very fast street circuit. Not only that, it's going to be about 32 degrees today. Today we have free practice 1, free practice 2 and qualifying all in one day. That all-important qualifying Q1, Q2 determines the grids for race 1 and race 2, of course. Anyway, we start off now with free practice 1. So, what is that all about? Well, essentially, it's going to be a time for the drivers to get to know this circuit. Since I was last here, it's got a new configuration, which means that there are opportunities for overtaking. So qualifying is important, and the race is going to be a lot more exciting. Let's see if we can grab Gabriele Tarquini, team boss of Hyundai. Gabriele, if I could ask you to turn around, sir. Congratulations in Vallelunga, that was very nice. Strategy paid off very well, having Bebu getting the reverse pole and maximum points from Norby. Nice.
Yeah, it was a perfect weekend for us. I mean, we managed to get the pole position and the reverse pole position, so that's the perfect weekend for us, and we scored two wins. So.
A good start. Now, obviously, you've seen the other drivers and the other teams playing their hands. Who is your biggest competition, and what can you expect from Marrakech?
It's a totally different track from the last time we was here in 2019, and to be honest, I don't know. The track is very small. Probably we are just using 2 gear, no fifth and no sixth.
Well, that's a challenge in itself, right?
It's a different challenge. So to be honest, I cannot say you. I mean, our opponent, or if we will be able to fight with the pace, because I mean we carry a lot of weight with the Norby, 30 kilos with Mikel, and the only car free of weight is Bebu, and we hope to get the pace with Bebu.
So. Right, free practice 1, what's the most important thing for you guys to work out in free practice 1?
Just discover the track for the drivers out of the simulator, and just to understand the key point of the track. I mean, there are a lot of chicane. You must jump in before the very tricky corner before the finish line. So we need to focus in the main points of the circuit.
Yeah. Right. Fair play. What do you think is going to be the biggest challenge? Will it be the weather? Temperature looks like it's going to be about 32 degrees. Tyres?
No, I don't expect tire wear or tire decay. To be honest, the only challenge will be the track, because I don't know if it's completely clean. The track will be faster and faster during the race weekend, so we need to be always there with the key points of this track, and we need to discover on free practice.
Okay, brilliant. Well, Gabriele, power's on. Power's on. So I guess they're about to head out now. We saw Norby warming up earlier. He's come into this weekend with such a different sort of confidence that I've personally seen before. He seems to be very relaxed. I mean, he's the reigning champion. He's already scored a lot of points, so I guess that helps. But yeah, just a different, lighter, more excited Norby. Bebu was really excited. Those of you who know Bebu will understand that he's permanently excited. But yeah, he's happy to be back in Morocco. It's a really popular circuit for our drivers, and yeah, the energy, the atmosphere in the paddock's really good. Everyone likes the weather. They might not be saying that tomorrow when it's 33 degrees, but never mind. There we go. Should we get on with free practice 1? Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you very much, Alexandra, down there in the baking hot paddock of Marrakech, and a very warm welcome to everybody at home tuning in this morning for free practice 1 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. It's our absolute pleasure to welcome you to the broadcast today, and it's our absolute pleasure to bring you free practice, which is a bit of something new for us in the world of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, and it's a great opportunity to take some insight into the preparation that is undertaken by these teams and drivers ahead of the big action that kicks off on Saturday with our two race events, races and rounds 3 and 4 of the 2024 year. On your screen right now, you can see the entry list. We've of course got the 11 Kumho FIA TCR World Tour full-time drivers. And we've also got a selection of guest starters this weekend. Dusan Borkovic for GOAT Racing alongside Victor Fernandez will be two names that TCR touring car drivers know very well indeed, but also Julian Piet, who's driving for the Team Claire Race Sport Audi RS3 LMS TCR. New to the world of TCR, new to the world of touring cars. He's a GT endurance driver, has raced previously at the Le Mans 24 Hours. It's going to be fascinating to see how Julian gets hold of this car on this circuit and if he can do a good result in the number 30 machine. Other big names that are worth mentioning that are new for this weekend, of course, home hero Mehdi Banani, back in TCR competition again, the 2020 TCR Europe champion, another driver that the home fans will firmly be keeping an eye on, and I recommend at home you do so as well, as we see how Mehdi reacclimatises to touring car competition. Marching there that we see just getting ready as well for the Lincoln Co Cyan racing team. Very, very warm temperature conditions here in Marrakech. Air temperature currently is 18.9 degrees, but that is going to increase rapidly as the day progresses. 20.9 is the track temperature, and ahead of us we have a 30-minute practice, free practice 1 to be precise, session where the drivers, as Gabriele Tarquini mentioned on pit lane to Alexandra, will be acclimatising to this new shortened layout of the Marrakech circuit, different from the last time we visited in 2019. Very quick lap times. It's about a 1.9 kilometre length lap. That's about 1.23 miles for those that deal in miles. And that means we're not going to get much opportunity for rest and relaxation. It also means overtaking may prove a little bit difficult for these TCR touring cars. So what we learn from free practice, the drivers will be looking with an eye towards the ultimate overall pace for qualification, how the car progresses over a race stint as well. But critically, for everybody that's about to go onto the racetrack, weather conditions, track conditions will be much different in this session than what we expect in qualifying this afternoon and the races tomorrow. So you're going to be slightly limited in terms of the one-to-one correlation between what you're feeling now and what you feel a little bit later on. What does that mean for us at home? That probably means we're going to have a lot of running on track, but we're also going to have a lot of unanswered questions when we come to qualification this afternoon at 3:50 CEST on the TCR TV YouTube channel. And we all like a little bit of variety. I think it's fair to say, folks at home, I do certainly. Anything that can mix up the field will be very fascinating indeed for the two races ahead. Marco Butti is a young man that is going to be very keen to get plenty of track time because he has never experienced this Morocco Marrakech circuit. Dusan Borkovic races in TCR Europe this year, making a one-off return to FIA International touring car level competition for the first time, in fact, since he won the FIA European Touring Car Cup trophy all the way back in 2015. Borkovic, a driver never short of excitement on the circuit. It's going to be fascinating to see how he acclimatises. So, a few minutes, let's go green flag racing. So there we go then, folks. The green flag at the end of pit lane is on, and the cars almost immediately as one are out of the pit lane. The BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa team, led by our current standings leader and winner in Vallelunga, Norbert Michaelis. There we see him coming down pit road, teammate Mikel Azcona and brand new teammate Bebu Girolami. Nestor, as he's got on the birth certificate, Bebu, as we all know him. Third out of the grid, and there is Ted Bjork for the Lynk & Co Cyan Racing Team. Interestingly, Ted is on his own. Normally they go out as a group, as the foursome of the team, but it seems like Marc Xinghua, Jan Elishay and Santiago Urrutia remain in pit lane for now and just allow those front four cars go out there, clean up the circuit a little bit, assess the conditions. You can see already, just as we see a few of the cars coming out of pit lane, just how dusty the race surface is here at the Marrakech street circuit. Very typical of street track conditions, it has to be said. It'll take a while. The lap time will ramp up as the conditions improve over the course of the session. And there we can see a couple of there's Mehdi Banani in the Cupra. Great to see, by the way, that's a point worth making. Mehdi Banani will be driving in the brand new Cupra Leon VZ TCR. We've not seen that one in the World Tour, though we have seen it won both races in the opening round of TCR Europe, also at Vallelunga. So that's a car I'm fascinated to see how that runs over the course of this weekend, especially in the hands of someone like Dusan Borkovic, very quick driver indeed. Let's take our first looks then on board of this circuit, riding with the 112 Santiago Urrutia for the Lynk & Co Cyan Racing. That's the final corner that Gabriele Tarquini spoke about. We're on board now with Urrutia. We run down in a T1, a little bit of warming of the tyres. Look how tight the circuit is, how close the walls are. Big braking point here. And this is a circuit where there is, we always say this on a street track, but we really, really mean it here at Marrakech. There is zero room for error. You've got to be aggressive, you've got to be strong over the curbs, you've got to be willing to catch a little bit of air, it has to be said, in these cars. But the smallest mistake, as we've seen so many years, down the years so many times, the smallest mistake can end your weekend in a heartbeat. So keen to get the laps under the belt for these drivers, but also keen to minimise any sort of mistakes, because that will be very, very difficult to recover from as we look at Esteban Gurrieri, the GOAT Racing Honda driver. Podium last time out in Vallelunga. Good debut weekend for GOAT Racing, and they've got it all to do again as we wipe the slate clean for the round 3 and 4 here in Marrakech. Few things that are worth mentioning to you before the track action kicks off in earnest. There's a new compensation weight in effect, which is based on the points scored in previous events to a maximum of 40 kilograms. So Norbert Michaelis, our current series leader, has 40 kilograms attached to his car. Esteban Gurrieri and Mikel Azcona are carrying 30 kgs apiece. Marco Butti has 20 extra kilos this weekend. Santiago Urrutia has 10 on board his Lynk & Co Cyan Racing. And we've also got a change in BOP from the last time we saw these cars in action a couple of weeks ago. The Lynk & Co has a 20 kilogram weight brake, and the Audi has a 10 kilogram weight brake, and the Cupra has had a 10 millimeter height increase. Not particularly relevant for us because it's the first time we've seen the Cupra in action, but anybody who's seen that car running in various different regional and national championships around the world will know that the Cupra has been born very well indeed and is an incredibly quick car. So an extra 10 millimeters has been added to the ride height of that particular car. 25 minutes and a half on the clock then. Currently, with 4 laps completed for Mikel Azcona, he leads the timing screen with a 53-second lap time. Just behind is teammate Bebu Girolami on a 53.939, and then 1.1 seconds in arrears Norbert Michaelis with a 54.185. To stress, once again, to everybody watching at home, the early running, these times are going to drop significantly over the course of the weekend. We're looking at Mehdi Banani in the Claret machine at the moment, and you can see just how dusty the surface is here in Marrakech. The track is not giving up optimal grip. The temperature will fluctuate wildly as the weekend progresses as well, only increasing seemingly time on time. So this is strictly for these drivers at this moment in time, just about getting laps under the belt, building confidence, making sure that the cars have come over from Vallelonga as expected. Everything's working, all the buttons work, all the switches work, the handling is as expected, and just building in to the weekend that's in front of us, because we've got free practice 2 a little bit later on today. That's going to be 12:50 CEST, and then qualification will be taking place at 15:50 CEST today. So an important session to get that early running as Mehdi Banani encounters something I expect to see more than our fair share of this weekend, and that is heavy traffic. That's going to be the story of both free practice sessions, but more importantly, qualifying later on. In fact, Mehdi decides to escape through the chicane rather than try and navigate his way round, as he gets held up by the two GOAT Racing Honda Civics, as we see another home hero at the front of the field. That is Sami Taufik. Oh no, I apologise, that's John Felipe in the Volcano Motorsports Audi, teammate to Moroccan driver Sami Taufik. Two Moroccans on the grid in Morocco at Marrakech. Fantastic sight, I'm sure you will all agree. "23 minutes gone on the clock at this moment in time." We can see Ted Bjork has had a good middle sector, dropped off towards the end. Esteban Gurrieri, we saw in pit lane at the start of this session. He's now out on the racetrack. Looking at my timing streams, all drivers, all 15 drivers in this event are out on track and have set a lap time. Gurrieri is yet to set that lap time. In fact, there we see exiting through the chicane, merging back on the racetrack. Be a little bit careful. Very difficult to find some clear real estate to return back to the track. But Gurrieri down pit lane hasn't set a representative time just yet, as Sami Taufik on home soil goes quickest with a 51.661, his 7th lap of the session. Bebu Girolami, Mikel Azcona, all back in pit lane. Dusan Borkovic as well is back down pit lane. There is Bebu. Laptops plugged in, team checking the car, and again, much like we see in qualification, much like we see each weekend in free practice, a little bit more relaxed than we see in qualifying. It's just about going there, doing the checks, making sure everything works as expected, and getting the laps in and under your belt. Machingwa had a good time last time out in Vallelonga. Not spectacular in terms of outright pace, but banking good results. He'll be hoping for a strong weekend here in Marrakech. And again, so important on a street circuit, a track that often Mar goes well at. So important to have a clean, error-free weekend. He who makes the least mistakes on a track like this one is the one that's likely to profit the most come the checkered flag. It is not always about out-and-out pace in motor racing. It's about putting the fine details together, and that work begins right here and right now in free practice 1. Run plans have been devised by the team. It's up to the drivers to execute those run plans, deliver the information, the knowledge that they need to help set the car up further in FP2 a little bit later on this morning, and then prepare for the all-out attack of qualifying, which is when, trust me, a TCR car on the limit, especially in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, is a sight to behold indeed. If you haven't had the opportunity to visit the racetrack at your local TCR sanctioned event, I thoroughly and wholeheartedly recommend you do. These are incredible cars in action, really spectacular to watch, to hear. The sights, the sounds, the smells of a TCR event is sensational. And the Kumho TCR World Tour, of course, is full of the best touring car drivers in the world, and there's nothing quite like seeing a World Tour driver flat chat. Incredible stuff as we look at our leader in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour standings, Norbert Miklis. Oh, what's this? What are we looking at here? Is that Jan Elishay? Yes, it is. A little bit of damage, a little bit of signage or garbage. I'm not quite sure exactly what that is on the front of the Lincoln Co Cyan car. We just passed the entrance to pit lane, so Jan's come into some kind of strife. Apart from the debris on the front of the car, I can't visually spot any particular damage, but what has happened to Jan Elishay, I would love to know. We'll find that out in a moment as cars 30 and 125 are under investigation, and we'll have to report to the stewards, but we'll look at that a little bit later on. Car 30, of course, being the car of Julian Piget, and 125 being Mehdi Banani. But what has happened to Jan Elishay as the red flags wave? Of course, so difficult to extract a vehicle with the tight confines of the walls and the big safety catch fencing, so we'll have to put a snatch vehicle out on track, hence the need for a red flag to maintain safety at all times. But has that been a drama for Jan Elishay with the trouble last time out of Vallelunga that meant the Frenchman scored far fewer points than he expected? What Jan does not need coming into this event is yet more setbacks, anything outside of the normal run plan, and that's exactly what has befallen the Lincoln Co Cyan racing driver. So we're only 12 minutes in to the weekend. This is FP1, remember, not qualification. This is the first session, and already we've had one of our big hitters in some kind of drama. So fascinated to see what's happening there with Jan as we're just watching his teammate Marc Ingois back down pit lane again. The session will be stopped. The clock continues, as you can see on the top of your timing screen, and hopefully the great marshals here in Marrakech can get that car cleared safely away so we can get back out again and these drivers can get some lap times, get some lap running under their belts at the conclusion, the last few moments, the second half, in fact, of this free practice one session. So while we're waiting to find out exactly what's happened there, timing screens as they stand, 10 laps have been completed by Sami Taufik in the Volcano Motorsports Audi. He's got the quickest time with a 51.661. Norbert Michaelis has completed 9 laps. His fastest lap was on his penultimate one. In fact, here is Jan Elishay. So is that car back up and running again? Does it look like it's carrying any damage? Very peculiar as to what's happened there, but great news for Jan that the car seems to be broadly pointed in the right direction. It's certainly running, which is a win compared to what we saw earlier on. I don't see any damage. Beautiful livery, I must admit, by Cyan. That really is the Lincoln Co Cyan racing car. Genuinely will be known as a classic, in my opinion. I like a touring car, as anybody who knows me well knows. And I'm a big fan of the visuals of that Cyan racing Lincoln Co machine, and I don't see like Jan has scratched it anywhere, so I'm not quite sure what happened there, but no damage. He's running again, seems to be coming down pit lane. Good news for us, folks, means we'll be able to get this session restarted again. Good news for Jan Elishay is he'll be able to get down pit lane. The team will be able to have a look at the car, and hopefully he can get back out and continue his charge in this FP1 session. And there is the Frenchman, a relatively healthy looking car. So very curious as to what's happening there. The hood's up. I do that when I'm buying a car, even though I don't know what I'm looking for. So I'm sure that the team at Cyan know a fair deal more than I do under the hood of a car. Doesn't seem like visuals have any kind of problem. Safety latch is back on. Interesting. Heart in the mouth moment there for Jan Elishay. But going back to the timing screens, big runner so far in this one is Julian Piget in the Claret machine, the Audi RS3 LMS. Most laps on the books so far with 11th, and a very commendable 4th position in the timing sheets thus far. A 52.510, just 8.5 tenths of a second away from Sami Taufik, who is the current leader of free practice one, the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, ahead of rounds 3 and 4 here in Marrakech. Half distance then in the session, 15 minutes left to go. Red flag has been removed, replaced by the green flag, which is what we like to see. And most of the cars head back out again to continue this opening practice session of the weekend. And once again, it is the 105 of Norbert Michaelis who leads the pack away. Two Hyundai Elantra N TCRs from the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa team lead the field of cars out into free practice. There's no damage on the circuit. We've got no clear up to do, of course. We just saw Elishay briefly stopped at the side of the track so we can go racing safely, or go practicing, sorry, safely once again. And Michaelis very firmly on it. It's such a short lap here in Marrakech, 1.8 kilometres in length, very few corners, very little tarmac that the drivers need to cover, so you have to get on it very quickly to light those tyres back up again, to get the car in the window, to start setting representative lap times. And speaking of representative lap times, the trials and tribulations of Esteban Gurrieri continue. Only 2 laps on the books thus far for the GOAT Racing Honda driver. Just crossed the line to complete his 3rd lap, but a 1:04.348 is not representative yet from Esteban Gurrieri. Hopefully they've got on top of whatever troubles are befalling the GOAT Racing Honda Civic Type R FL5 at this moment in time. Ted Bjork, fresh boots or a boot swap round on that Link & Co. Look how dirty those slick tyres, those Kumho slick tyres are. That's how much dirt and grime that we're lifting off of the racetrack this early in the weekend. Of course, no support running been happening at this point, no TCR run has been happening, so you are lifting the deritras of the normal street circuit out of the racetrack to bring lap time as the weekend progresses. Bebu Girolami, currently our quickest driver. Now he has overtaken Sami Taufik at the front of the field. Santiago Arrutia that we're riding on board with. Now we get to see that first corner we cut away from a little bit earlier. One of the fastest corners here on this really, really difficult street circuit. And then we're about to see another big stop, so quick at this point but so narrow, and you're braking and turning at the same time. You're trying to line the car up for the chicane. You have to be aggressive. You don't want to catch those tyre stacks, because they will very quickly put an end to your session. And it does look like Arrutia does have that car on his tippy toes, and then just as I say that one, we immediately back out of it. Commentators curse as such. Arrutia learning what he can. So tight, so twisty here at Marrakech. You've got to have a good lock on the car. You've got to be strong on the racetrack. And in fact, I'm just hearing in my ear, thank you very kindly, Fabio, that he stopped, Jan Elishay stopped on the circuit to avoid overheating after collecting that banner. So that's been cleared by the marshals. He's on his way. They're checking the car out. Jan Elishay is back at it again. So thank you very much, Fabio, for that information as we ride on board now with Mikel Azcona, the Spanish driver, working hard at the steering wheel of that Hyundai Elantra. Look how inviting those tyre stacks are when you're in the heat of battle. If you're too wide in racing conditions, it's going to be so difficult to avoid making contact. Azcona very close indeed to the wall there. Couldn't quite make out if he kissed it or not, in fact, from those onboard shots as we swap from the Hyundai to the Audi. And this is home hero Sami Taufik. Volcano Motorsports, Sami back in touring car competition after a brief hiatus. Had a challenging weekend in Vallelonga, the World DNF, through various incidents, but showed good pace when things were running well. The Volcano Audi. Taufik super excited to be back racing on home soil again, and the fans here in Marrakech will be equally as excited to see him in action as we look on at the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa team as they watch their 3 Chargers continue around this short Marrakech circuit. As Sami Taufik is still the fastest man in FP1. He's on a good lap, but there's traffic in front. That is another one of the Audi machines. Taufik, will he be bowled here by Piquet? Yes, he will, as the inside line is compromised on quarter exit, and that is going to hurt the overall lap time. In fact, there you see it on your timing screens. Taufik bailing out of that one. Wisely, I think it has to be said. He'll try and find himself a little bit of clear air and go again very shortly indeed. 10 minutes left on the session. He is currently our fastest driver, Sami Taufik, in the 212. Exits down pit lane. Michaelis is second quickest with a 51.377. This man that you were briefly looking at there was one of the GOAT Racing Hondas. That was Marco Butti in 9th position. 168 is the now fully cleaned up and ready to go Jan Aleshe. He's 12th, but he's only got 12 laps in the books versus the 16 of Bebo Girolami. So a minor irritation for Jan Aleshe was that debris that he cleared from the car. But all is fair in love and war. He's back on again now and won't be too perturbed by a bit of drama that we saw earlier in this session. Not perturbed at all, in fact, for Jan Aleshe. Both himself and Ted Bjork are going quicker than they've been so far in this session, so unleashing some of the pace. Aleshe tries to get out of the way of his teammate, bolts him in fact, a little bit, does Jan Aleshe, and Bjork crosses the line, a 10th down in 4th position. Aleshe time not relevant on that particular lap due to coming off the throttle. Very, very nervous over the bumps as well. There you saw the car lift up in a T1. Good control from Jan, but that'll be an uncomfortable ride indeed in the Lincoln Co. Aleshe will have to watch that one as the weekend moves forwards. So good pace then from the Audis. Quickest Hyundai second, Honda third for Dusan Borkovic for GOAT Racing on his return to FIA international competition. But I dare say these Lincoln Co's are a little bit faster, it looks, than they're letting on in FP1. I think the raw pace of this car will be impressive as we get to the meaty end of this weekend for qualification later on this afternoon. Not showing their full hand, it is fair to say, yet, I don't believe, are the Lincoln Co. Cyan Racing team. Aleshe through the final corner, still following teammate Ted Bjork. Not the final corner, in fact, my apologies. As Aleshe giving the wall a fair bit of respect on this lap, not pushing the absolute limits of what this car is capable, is fair to say. We'll see more as qualification rolls around a little bit later on as the circuit cleans itself up. And you just saw very quickly on your screen there Victor Fernandez, currently 15th and last in the GOAT Racing Honda Civic. He's completed just 13 laps compared to the 17 of that man, Bebo Girolami. And Fernandez, a 56.1 to his name, not a representative time yet in that Honda Civic. So a few problems for Victor Fernandez in this session. Hopefully they manage to clean out those gremlins before we get into FP2 a little bit later on today at 12:50 CEST. Santiago Urrutia we're looking at here on a cool down lap. Will he come in pit lane or is he winding up to set a time? Nope, there is the pit lane. Very tight exit to the left hand side to get into pit lane. Not really a drama when we go racing. We don't make pit stops traditionally in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, but it's just another pinch point in sessions like free practice and qualifying the drivers have to be aware of. You have to be very alert on a circuit like this, not just for the walls and tyre stacks, but for all the intricacies of navigating 15 cars around this very tight circuit. Intricacies that man Sami Taufik seems to be mastering here in Marrakech. Quickest time of the session, a 51.033, 0.3 of a second to the good from Esteban Gurrieri, who's got over whatever problems he experienced at the start of the session. The Argentine driver currently in pit lane, but second fastest in opening practice. Incredible stuff from Sami Taufik. He was so excited speaking to him in the paddock in Vallelunga, could not wait to get to Marrakech to race on this street circuit in front of his home fans, and he's delivering very strongly indeed in that Volcano Motorsports Audi thus far. Although, as I say that, one commentator's curse again just locks up and has to cut over the chicane. No harm, no foul. Sami Taufik there, nobody really around him. Nothing lost, nothing gained. But the Moroccan driver, quickest, 18 laps in the books as well. Probably looking at the timing screen, in fact, the driver with the most laps, apart from Teddy Piguet in 14th position. So good work undertaken by Sami Taufik in terms of workload and also performance as well. Quickest driver from Esteban Gurrieri. Norbert Michaelis is third quickest for the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa team, 3.5 tenths in arrears of Taufik, and Dusan Borkovic in fourth position. This is what happened. So easy. The car is unloaded at this point. Taufik tries to turn in, realises he doesn't have enough grip at the rear of the car, wisely decides to bail and try to get round the corner, cuts over the chicane. Nice and safe place to do so, nobody around him, and he survives that one as Bebu Girolami goes quickest now with a 51.023. Bebu Girolami, our fastest driver. Santiago Urrutia that we're looking at here, currently in 9th position. Urrutia, though, not be too concerned at this stage about overall lap times as he gets out of the way of cars on a quicker lap than himself. But again, free practice one. I know it's a new experience to be broadcasting this one. We don't do it very often in the World Tour, but it's great to have these pictures for you and have a bit of insight into what goes on into the build-up for a race weekend. Lap times, not critical for these drivers. It's all about confidence. It's all about understanding what car you have underneath you, what changes you think you're going to need to make, but with a weathered eye on the fact that the conditions, the temperature, the cleanliness of the circuit will evolve and change over the weekend. What you're feeling and seeing as a driver now will not be a replication in qualifying this afternoon. So it is a bit of a learning and guessing game, and that's when the likes of the Lincoln Co Cyan Racing team and the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa outfit with years of experience, that's when that comes to the fore, as they can lean on their experience from years past to try and predict how things will progress as the weekend goes forwards. Sante that we're looking at now having a bit of a wild ride, it's fair to be said. That doesn't look like the most comfortable car underneath the Uruguayan driver at this moment in time. Still seems relatively quick in sectors when he puts his foot to the floor, but I do really strongly think Santiago Urrutia and the Lincoln Co team are just holding back ultimate pace, is my opinion at this moment in time. My ignorant opinion, no doubt. It could well be this is their true pace, but it does look like they're not worried about chasing for lap times at this moment and are just continuing the programme that they devised coming in to this FP1 session. As there is second place man Sami Taufik backed up into his pit box, 2 minutes on the clock. He does have time, but they'll have to be quick about it to get out there and have another attack, as Bebu Girolami currently leads the time in 21 laps in the books. Quickest time with a 51.023. Sami Taufik with 21 laps as well on a 51.033. Norbert Michaelis 19 laps to his name on a 51.1. And in fourth place, Mikel Azcona, 20 laps still circulating, 51.919. And this is Mikel Azcona that we're looking on board as we speak. Fourth quickest, but he's doing the work he needs to do in this session, getting laps on the board, learning each and every time they cross the timing beam. Dusan Borkovic, he's here in this one-off event for Goat Racing in the Honda Civic. Not part of the full season Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, but as any fans of the series will know, we go to different races, different championships. This is a standalone event with guest drivers rather than joining a regional or national series this weekend. And Borkovic decides to make the jump to Marrakech and see how things go. New team is Goat Racing. The Honda Civic is a very new car, the FL05. Borkovic was impressive, if unfortunate, in TCR Europe at Vallelunga. The big Serbian will be hoping that a little bit more luck comes his way over the course of this weekend and he can show the pace that we know he is capable of showing in a TCR car, as he's currently 6th quickest. Borkovic 23 laps on the books, so he's getting good experience on board that Goat Racing machine. Ma Qinghua, car number 155, you see on your screen there, 12th quickest at this moment in time. 20 laps have been completed. Ma, again, just like his fellow Lincoln Co Cyan Racing drivers, not showing, not lighted up the time in the streets yet, but he'd be a brave man to bet against this team when we get to the meat of the session a little bit later on. Marco Butti now, session completed. He'll be 10th at best in the GOAT Racing Honda Civic. Bebo Girolami crosses the line to complete his session, having been overtaken by Norbert Michaelis at the front of the field. Sami Taufik as well completes his session as Jan Elishay elects to visit the escape road again. Popular escape road, that chicane. If you're going to Marrakech Street Circuit later on this weekend, I recommend you stand there. It seems like that will be a pinch point for these cars and drivers. But the session is completed. The drivers just finishing their time lap if they were on one. If they've completed their session, circulating back to pit lane, and it looks like Norbert Michaelis will be the fastest runner in FP1 for the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa team with a 50.802 quickest lap on his final tour from Bebo Girolami, 51.023, 2/10 in arrears. Sami Taufik, Mikel Azcona, third and fourth position, with Esteban Gurrieri and Dusan Borkovic rounding out the top 6 runners. That is a Honda on track, just doing a practice start. I think that will be lining up on the grid, and a good opportunity for these drivers. The race surface is so different to what we experience. Any opportunity to practice your launch, see how the car responds to the tarmac and the conditions is very valuable indeed. And the man, the myth, the legend, Gabriele Tarquini, team manager, world champion, ex-Formula 1 driver, an all-round touring car superstar, has a quick walk up to that dummy grid just to check on how his team and others launch away from the line. Tarquini, been there, done it, bought the t-shirt, sold the t-shirt, bought it back again in the world of touring cars, it has to be said. Fantastic personality, a fantastic name on the grid. And he's doing big work for the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa team post-retirement from the driving seat. It's working very well indeed if the Vanilunga results are anything to go by. And FP1 as Borkovic away from the line. Such an impressive sight to see these front-wheel drive TCR touring cars launch away from the line, even in practice conditions. And it's valuable learning for all the team members stood on pit wall, just watching how each individual mark, each individual team approaches the race starts. That'll be noted, and that'll be referenced. Is that Tarquini taking a snap for his Instagram? No. Oh, he is. Gabriele has the camera out. Even a man who's been there and done it still can't help but get a little snap of the cars in action. They'll be assessing that one, no doubt, in the banks of data monitors ahead of free practice 2, which takes place very soon, in fact, at 12:50 CEST, 11:50 in the morning UK time. 12:50 CEST on the TCR TV app. FP2 will be another 30-minute session, a vital session, it has to be said, ahead of qualifying this afternoon, 15:50 CEST, of course, on the TCR TV app. Santiago Arrutia then through the final corner. He's already done his practice start, down pit lane. Make sure you adhere to the 60 kilometers per hour pit lane speed limit here. Of course, break that speed limit, you'll be finding yourself not only with a slap wrist and probably a few quid less in your pocket, but also sporting penalties. So have to be a little bit careful. Dos Santos, very easy to make that mistake, but no such problem for the Uruguayan driver. Marchinguar being pushed back, get the car at a 45-degree angle on pit lane, get the fans on because it's getting warm down there on pit lane as well. Overheated, always a concern in a touring car, not just for the drivers, but for the mechanical aspects of the vehicle as well. And these are confirmation of our FP1 result. Norbert Michaelis is our fastest driver from teammate Bebo Girolami. Sami Taufik, third quickest from Mikel Azcona, 4/10 covering the top 4 drivers. Esteban Gurrieri and Dusan Borkovic, a pair of Hondas, in 5th and 6th. Mehdi Banani on his return, home hero, 7th quickest in the Cupra. Ted Bjork for Cyan Lincoln Co Racing in 8th. John Philippi and Marco Butti round out the top 10 runners. And then in 11th, Julian Piguet. 12th position, Jan Elishay, 9/10 away from the ultimate pace, followed by Marchinguar, Santiago Arrutia, and Victor Fernandez in 15th position.
Well, Well, there we go. That was a rather nice free practice start for BRC Hyundai Squadra N. Gabriele Rizzo, what did you learn out there then, boys?
Yeah, it was a clean session without any trouble. There will be a very, very big track evolution as we've seen during the session, and it will be all along the day, all along the weekend. So we have to look, let me say, where we can improve. There will be improvement everywhere. We have seen other cars that are scoring very, very, very good single sector. So there is competitor with much faster ideal lap. So we have a lot to work, let me say, to be prepared for this afternoon in quali.
For those who are new to the sport, tell us what happens at the end there. It looked like people were doing practice starts. What's the benefit of that? What have you learned from what you guys have done there?
Yeah, it's a street circuit, so the condition on the grid is very important, so we have to spot the level of grip. So this opportunity allowed by FIA, by the regulation, is happening in the past, and teach us, let me say, on the level of grip on the standing grid, and more for the driver, because with this car there is not so many parameters that we can change. It's much important for the driver to get the feeling with the clutch and to have the light bite point to perform a very good standing start.
Great, thank you. Good start. See you in free practice too.
Thank you.
Grazie mille.
Alexandra Legui down there on pit lane with Gabriele Rizzo from BRC Hyundai N Squadra course. I get my teeth in. And it's a very good point that Gabriele makes there. This is a street circuit, it's an unknown track condition, so it's vital for these drivers to do their practice starts and understand where the grip is, how the car responds. We've seen this so many times. In fact, Bebu Girolami, cast your mind back 2 weeks to Vallelunga, failed to get away from the line in race one, started in 10th position, dropped all the way to the back of the field. Just goes to show how the smallest margins can make the biggest difference for these cars, teams and drivers. So the more experience that you can garner, the better everything is for you. So just to remind you all then, folks, FP1 over and done. We're back again on the TCR TV channel on 12:50 CEST for free practice 2. A critical session. I hope to see you all there. Thanks for watching. From me, Paul Jeffrey and the team, bye-bye.